The summer of 1922 shimmered like champagne. The air over Long Island was heavy with perfume, jazz, and promise. In West Egg, where new money built its marble castles, a young bond salesman named Nick Carraway rented a small house by the bay. Next door, every weekend, a palace came alive with music. Cars lined the drive. Waiters served rivers of cocktails. The garden glittered under 1,000 lights. No one knew the host, only his name, Gatsby. They said he was a war hero. They said he was a murderer. They said he'd inherited his fortune from a dead German prince. But Nick, watching the fireworks from his porch, saw something else, a single figure standing alone at the edge of the dock, stretching his hand toward a distant green light across the water. That light burned from the house of Daisy Buchanan, Nick's cousin, and the woman Gatsby had loved long ago. Across the bay, East Egg glittered with old money and elegant boredom. Daisy lived there with her husband, Tom Buchanan, a man with a cruel jaw and an even crueler certainty of his own privilege. When Nick visited, he found Daisy drifting through her rooms like a beautiful ghost in white silk. Her laughter was musical but hollow, as if it came from far away. She had everything, jewels, servants, the perfect house, and nothing that made her truly alive. That evening, a phone call came for Tom. Daisy's smile froze. The call was from his mistress in the city. The golden world trembled, and Nick saw the truth behind its glitter, a world built on lies. Later, when Daisy heard that Nick's mysterious neighbor was Gatsby, her eyes lit up for the first time in years. 5 years earlier, before the war, Gatsby had been James Gatz, a poor young soldier who met Daisy in Louisville. She was rich, dazzling, untouchable, and yet she kissed him once under a shower of white blossoms, and that kiss became his destiny. When he went off to war, she married Tom. But Gatsby never let go of the dream. He built his fortune from nothing. Through bootlegging and dangerous deals, just to win her back. Every party, every glass of champagne, every note of jazz was for her. He believed he could repeat the past. Nick arranged their reunion. It was a rainy afternoon when Daisy stepped into Gatsby's mansion, trembling. He was waiting among the flowers he'd filled the room with, orchids, roses, lilacs, an entire garden of apology. For a moment, both were shy as children. Then the years melted away. Daisy laughed again, that silvery, careless laugh. Gatsby looked at her as if the world had finally turned back toward the sun. Outside, the rain stopped. The green light no longer seemed distant. Part 4, The Illusion of Gold. For a few weeks, it was paradise reborn. Gatsby and Daisy met secretly. They sailed across the bay, danced under stars, whispered old memories. Gatsby's dream seemed real enough to touch. But Daisy's world was made of delicate glass and inherited pride. Tom Buchanan began to sense the change, the secret glances, the soft excitement in his wife's eyes. His jealousy turned brutal. One boiling August afternoon, they all drove into New York. The heat hung like a curse. In a suite at the Plaza Hotel, the confrontation came. "So, what's been going on between you two?" Tom demanded. Gatsby's voice shook. "Daisy never loved you. She's only loved me." Daisy looked between them, trapped. "Oh, please, stop this." Tom laughed. "You think she's going to leave me for you? You're nothing but a bootlegger. She'll stay where she belongs." Daisy's voice broke. "I did love him once, but I loved you too." That single sentence cracked Gatsby's golden dream in two. They left the city in silence, the storm of words still echoing in their heads. On the road back to Long Island, tragedy waited. Tom's mistress, Myrtle Wilson, had just fought with her husband and run out into the road, desperate to stop the yellow car she believed was Tom's. The car struck her and sped away. She died instantly. It was Daisy driving, but Gatsby took the blame. That night he hid outside Daisy's house, watching her window, believing she would come to him, believing love would still save them. But inside, Daisy and Tom sat together, their heads close, their lives intact. By morning, Gatsby was still waiting by his pool, staring at the blue water that mirrored his broken dream. At dawn, George Wilson, Myrtle's grief-stricken husband, arrived with a gun. Misled by Tom, he believed Gatsby had been the driver. 2 shots shattered the quiet. When Nick arrived, Gatsby lay floating face down in the pool, blood spreading like ink across the water. The green light flickered across the bay, still shining, now unreachable forever. No one came to the funeral. Daisy and Tom vanished, leaving no address. The crowds that had filled Gatsby's house with laughter and music were gone. Only Nick and a few servants stood by as the coffin lowered into the earth. Nick realized that the dream Gatsby died for was the same dream that drove all of America, the glittering promise that anyone could have it all if they only reached far enough. But the dream, like the man, was built on illusion. That autumn, Nick walked alone along the beach. The mansions stood empty, their lawns overgrown. The parties, the laughter, the jazz, all had blown away like autumn leaves. He remembered Gatsby's smile, the rare smile that believed in you, that made you feel seen. He remembered how Gatsby had stretched his arms toward that single light, chasing a dream that no longer existed. Gatsby had believed in the future with a faith so fierce it destroyed him. And yet, Nick thought, maybe that was what made him great. To dream so hard, even when the world laughed. To love so deeply, even when love was lost. In the end, The Great Gatsby is a story of love, but not a simple one. It is the love of a man for a woman he can never truly have. The love of youth for its lost ideals. The love of a country for its impossible dream. Daisy represented beauty, wealth, and the promise of happiness. But she was as fragile and false as the glitter that covered Gatsby's world. He loved not the real woman, but the idea of her, the symbol of everything he'd fought to become. The tragedy of Gatsby is the tragedy of the American dream itself, that no amount of gold or longing can bring back what is already gone. Nick closed his eyes and heard again the faint music from that vanished summer, the laughter, the champagne, the whisper of silk dresses in the night. Then the music faded, leaving only the sound of the waves against the shore. We beat on, boats against the current. Borne back ceaselessly into the past. The Great Gatsby remains a haunting mirror of love and ambition. It tells us that dreams, once golden, can drown in their own light. But to dream, even knowing the end, is what makes us human.